Hello and welcome to another Talk to Spotfire quick tip video in which I'm going to show you how to integrate graphing Python libraries or packages into Spotfire. My name is Jose Aguirre, so let's get started. Here I have a couple of libraries and examples. Each of them runs a data function, and the data function is going to produce an image. That image is a static image, is going to put it into a document property, and the document property is a binary type. And then that binary image or binary document property, I'm going to put it in the text area. So that's how that image gets rendered right here. And this is the polar scatter plot from matplotlib. I can use Seaborn. Let's look at the violin plot example. While I click on that, my data function is running, and then it's going to be rendered or replace the image because it's pointing to the same document property. There we go. Now let's look at this other one with GeoPandas. It's going to produce a map with some information. Of course, you can change the data function to do it whatever you want. And then we have the plotline, ggplot, another example, another library. So again, these libraries are static. They produce static images, and those static images is straightforward. You can put it, you've probably done it before, but the output is a binary document property that can be then rendered in a text area as a label Spotfire control, pointing to that binary document property. But what happens if I am using more sophisticated output? Let's say, for example, it's not an image, but it's an SVG image or an HTML output where it has some kind of interactivity. Although you have some interactivity on the static images, as we're going to see later on, some of the graphing libraries produce the HTML output, so you can have much more control. If we look at the code, you will see all that code that this is the output from the data function. So we cannot just put a document property. You cannot see any document property placeholder. This is straight from the data function into the data table, into the text area. So how do we do that? There's an intermediate step. What we do is put the output, which is a string, into a string document property from the data function, and then create a trigger in that document property that will then inject the HTML or the string into the text area directly. You advanced users probably already done that, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So if I go to view document properties, I can see that my image output is a binary value, but my HTML output is the SVG that we saw before. And this one, if I click on the, you can see that there's a script associated there. It's an Iron Python script. Let's look at the guts of that. I click edit my render HTML. It takes one parameter, which is the visualization or the text area that I want to dump that string information into that. And it's only 2 lines of code. The first one is to read the document property, and the second one is to inject that document property into the text area by just providing a value to the HTML content of that visualization. Okay, let's continue looking at examples. Let's look at this volume library that produces HTML. And now you can have a fully interactive map with bubbles and markers and stuff like that. Very cool. You can see that it's not a Spotfire map. It's an OpenStreetMap. The well log from Plotly, people might be using that, although I recommend to use the Spotfire mods, the well log. But if you feel comfortable using that, you can do so, and just everything is in your data function as the backend, producing that string and then dump it into this text area. You have some interactivity. I said some interactivity because it's not fully interactive with you cannot do drill downs with other native Spotfire visualization. You can do the other way around. You can provide marking or rows as an input parameter of the data function, or document properties, or maybe the filters, and that will drive the input parameter of the data function that will produce. And we're going to see a couple of examples further down. For example, here I have side by side these two outputs. One is a static image, and the other one is the interactivity. I can drive these visualizations by changing a document property that updates the input parameter of my data functions, and then I can see the update in my visualization. Now, one thing I noticed is that this image doesn't resize to the size of the text area. I can fix that with an additional script. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my source, and I'm going to add a script I already have there, which is style the plot. And all I need is to wrap my document property, my label document property, as you can see here, with some divs, Python plugins in this case, and then just inject this JavaScript. I'm going to provide the code. In the description, there's an article for that to go step by step. So you can see how it works. But now that the script is in place, I can resize my text area, and this image is going to be resized. It's not going to be possible on this other one because this is not an image. We cannot use the same approach, but you can maybe modify the parameters on your data functions to do that. Let's do one final example. which uses a different library, reliability library. So I'm driving this visualization through marking. So I can select some parameters on my native Spotfire visualization. I can click 1 or 2 parameters, and then it's going to run the data function and update it. Now, the reason this is super fast is because I have the caching on my script on, and that's why. But as long as it's the same parameter that I am entering, then it's going to remember and just going to output the. There's no use to recreate run the data function if it's already know what the output is going to be. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next quick tip video.